Good evening, folks. It's 8 p.m. Eastern, Thursday night. You know what that means. It's time for your Big Old Belt Wrestling podcast. And we got a full house tonight and so much to get into. Karrion Kross is making waves and has people's attention. But what exactly is going on there? We're going to try to figure that out and get some thoughts on that. WWE is taking aim at AEW again, and there might be a whole bunch of stuff happening between now and the end of the year. So we'll talk about that. And who knows what else, folks. We got a lot to talk about in the next hour, and we are glad you are here with us. Your Big Old Belt Wrestling podcast starts right now.
Big Old Belt, Big Old Belt, Big Old Belt, Big Old Belt. All I really want is that Big Old Belt, Big Old Belt, Big Old Belt, Big Old Belt. All I really need is that Big Old Belt.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to your Big Old Belt Wrestling podcast, Season 5, Episode 28. If you are watching on the stream right now, we have quite the crowded room tonight. It's been a while, so this is going to be an interesting show because we got a lot of voices here tonight. The whole crew in effect for the first time in a long time. I am Will in the center of your screen. To my top left of me is Silly Celis. To the top right is Damian G down in the Lone Star State. The Giant Crab Jamal is down on the bottom left. And last but not least, for the first time in a long time, down on the bottom right, you may know him from San Diego Comic-Con. You may know him from interviewing some celebrities. Editor-in-Chief 2 Chains is here this week, and I'm very glad to see you for the first time in a long time. Before we get in, Will, how are you doing? You are a busy man.
Tired, but all is good.
Good. How is everyone else doing?
Good to have the 2-3 zone back.
There we go. I know we have not had the full crew in quite a while, so this will be a fun show. Fun show, as we used to
fun show.
There we go. Fun show. No major cards to cover this week, so let's just get right to it. I'm not even sure where to start here because this is something that, my God, it is all over the internet. Folks seem to care, but I personally do not care that much about this. I've been shaking my head at it all week. But I guess to set the table, there's been rumors about Karrion Kross's contract status and what's up with him and this groundswell of support he's been getting. And in the last couple days, he has been moved to the alumni section on the WWE website. The talk is that his contract is up. He is saying his contract is up, that him and Scarlett are no longer affiliated with WWE. They've done an interview or two. He claims that they were offered a contract, or he was offered a contract and she wasn't. And he only had 24 hours to look at it. And I'm not sure what to make of that. There's more to it than that, I think. That said, he may be in the alumni section, but strangely enough, his merch is not in the clearance section. So I don't know what to think quite of that either, but I'm going to go to Crab here first on this. Because the $1 million question right now, because people are making YouTube videos, people are talking about like the Daniel Bryan, we want, back when they're bringing Daniel Bryan back, people are putting up hashtag we want Kross. Here's the question. What is going on with Karrion Kross?
Nobody knows. I mean, that's I think that's the big thing, is that I think that there are some fans of Kross and Scarlett, or Kross, or some combination that are genuinely enthralled and want to know what their favorite star is doing whenever he's doing it. And then there's most that this story is a story that people like because it's an underdog story. It's, whoever employee getting railroaded by the man, and it doesn't matter who it is. It's like, well, damn, they never gave him a shot. We thought they were going to give him a shot. They didn't. He's out of the company or whatever. Obviously, R-Truth comes to mind. Obviously, Daniel Bryan comes to mind. Drew McIntyre comes to mind, and hell, to lesser extent, Cody comes to mind. But give Divas a chance. It was a similar arc that fans kind of just glommed onto because it's the real story of the little guy or gal versus the multi-billion-dollar, unblinking, unflinching, soul-stealing corporate machine that runs on blood and popcorn to get the product out to the fans. And that's honestly what I think that the latter, the majority of the people that are really enthused in this Cross Scarlett situation with WWE is that it doesn't really matter who it is. It's the idea that Joe Sixpack is looking outside of whatever big conglomerate that he used to work for and going, damn, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a story that resonates with anybody with a job that goes, oh, he's an employee, he was a good soldier, he did all the things, and then why is he out of a job? And that's kind of like the number one question about wrestling once you start to take a deeper dive into wrestling. If it's all predetermined, how do you win? Like, what's the measure of success for wrestling? And that's a question that doesn't have a concrete answer because it looks different for really everybody. Some people will be a 18-time champion. Some people will be the greatest 24/7 champion of all time. Some of them will be just that guy that's known for the Royal Rumble spot or whatever your thing is, but you have to have a thing. And even if it's not a thing, you can still be Eugene. So everybody has something. I don't know what that something was for Kross because I'm not really a fan of the gimmick. But then when I started to think about it a little bit more, and I guess this is the question for you guys and everybody listening out there, is there something that Kross has that WWE is missing and they dropped the ball on it? Or are they, rightfully justified in not necessarily not renewing his contract, not in a moral sense, because they can do whatever they want. They don't have to hire him. They don't have to keep him. But just in if they had something with him, did they fumble it by letting him go? And I don't know the answer to that right now, because as a person that's not a fan, I would say, well, no, that's why they let him go. And then because WWE, one thing that WWE won't do is let money, they will burn money before they let money slip away. And we've seen that happen before too. But with Kross thing, it's kind of like, I wonder if they really didn't see a future for him and just let him go.
Let me work Cody Raheem Rhodes in here since you mentioned Cody. WWE treated Kross like a Mace song. You got 24 hours to sign. That is the story that Kross is putting out there. That
Damien, you didn't laugh there? You're not a New Yorker.
Meh.
That's the story Kross is putting out there, that he was offered a deal but was not given time to consider it. That's the thing. There's not a release. His contract was up. And so, I don't know. 2 Chainz, here's what I'm thinking. Because this is the weird. We were talking about this earlier today. There's been a lot of weird stuff going on lately with the Seth Rollins injury. That come SummerSlam, it's like, oh, are we blurring the lines? Are our strings being pulled? Or was there something really there or not? Kross is putting this story out there about this 24-hour contract that he didn't get to sign and all this, yet his merch is still in the store. I'm not sure if I buy what we're being told. There's a lot of we're getting some breadcrumbs, but I don't feel like we're getting the whole scoop here. At least I think so. What are you thinking?
All right. So first, to go to Jamal's question about success, I feel like as the viewer, the fan, I feel like success for a wrestler in WWE, to be exact, is to be able to win the crowd over regardless. Championship storyline, wins, losses, all those sports statistic aspects of sports entertainment. So when you look at the people like Sami Zayn, when you look at like the Usos, you look at Daniel Bryan going back in the day, that's true success, is when you're so over, they have no choice but to change the plans. So that's how I kind of look at it with Kross. Is Kross was able to do, and the one example that you left out was the Becky Lynch treatment, where Becky Lynch was not as hot as she is now until she had that moment with Nia Jax, the bloody nose. She did some things on social media, ran one hell of a mini documentary about it, and the fans was all for it since then. And she's took off and been on the moon beyond since that point. So with Kross, I think like he's at a point right now where he did not get it right for a very, very long time. And the kind of character that he's running right now, I would say, is mildly controversial because he says the things that a typical employed wrestler wouldn't. He goes above and beyond. It is blurring the lines. And it seems to be working. And to your point, Will, I think it's only right in character for him to continue to blur the lines, even if it means he is out of a contract. He's in the contract negotiation stage. Maybe he has another means of employment right now, maybe a movie or something. You know, who knows what he may be up to, why he doesn't necessarily have to sign right away in order for him to still be working with WWE. I mean, this is no different than Becky Lynch taking some time off as well, but actually never really left the company. So I like it. I like the fact that now is I'm not going to say OLD as we're getting, but as wise, mature, and fine that we are.
No, we old. I mean, we talked about this last week. We know we old. It's okay.
But I love the fact that it keeps us even on edge where we're unable to know. And you all are absolutely wrestling historians, and there hasn't been anything that has slipped between the cracks with you all. So I love the fact that we're sitting here, 5 people with all measure of experience, love for this sport, and don't actually know what's going on. And if that's exactly what he is masterminding right now, you have to just applaud him by whatever this is going to.
So you're saying this is a work,
may be. I think so. I really do think so. And listen, even if it's a work where he doesn't even in WWE in somewhere else, it still work because we're following along this story day to day to say, what is Kross doing? I guarantee if we find a podcast for about a year ago, we will probably be saying, I don't give a hell what Kross is up to.
No. Like, ask Will. We literally said that before SummerSlam. I said that if he doesn't have a good match with Sami Zayn, I don't know what's next for him. He should be done. And and we said that the week before SummerSlam. And I'd be goddamn. I swear, just credit us. Just credit us. That's all we're looking for. Or money. But just credit us.
And he's done that. I just to wrap up really quickly, he's done that. The work in the ring has been solid. The character, I think, is on track. The stuff he's doing outside of wrestling, even going back to Future Stars of Wrestling for the Chris Bay show, the documentary stuff that he's done on YouTube, that's doing great numbers. And then, yes, him getting a contract, whether it was 24 hours or not, he was still offered something. So it wasn't like they were like, oh, we're out of here. Good luck. This is like, oh, wait a minute. Let's see if we can work something out. And maybe he didn't. Maybe he did the right thing as an adult, not put pen to paper with a 24-hour deadline and say, let's come back to this. Let's talk this over. Let me have a little bit more time. I'll take a day, 2 week, or month without a check. But let's come back and do this the right way where I can have the proper representation, look over this, and have this done. And then in the meantime, I'm going to continue to work, build my character, raise my stock, and then I'll make myself undeniable for whatever I'm trying to earn. So I'm all for it. Good. Whatever this is going to end, I'm all for it.
All right, let me work this in here. Jay Bradbury on YouTube. Kross is giving me Brian Pillman vibes, minus the convincing TKO to give him the release. And let me throw in here the very end of what Cody Raheem Rhodes is saying. I have a question for Damian. If it's not a work, go to the indies and have the matches you want and make money. So here's the $1 million question. Do you think, Damian, they're working something here to the point that we may see Kross on the indies to kind of give this legitimacy beyond like he really is gone from WWE? Or is this going to go like maybe for a month or so and just he ends up re-signed?
If that's the case, this wouldn't be the first time something like this has happened. Where wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You're not signed, but in reality you are. You just get the okay to appear at certain indie shows, which is what it is. To the point of the Brian Pillman thing, that's exactly what I was thinking. Exactly. This is Brian Pillman with where is he going to show up? He's the loose cannon. What's he going to do? Since we're men who are mature, we are old enough to know that we were intrigued on Monday Night Raw when he kicked the door down with the gun, right? Trying to shoot Austin. But here's the difference. We're not in the Attitude Era anymore. So to be kooky and mysterious just doesn't cut it. And y'all know I have never been a Kross guy. I started to warm up midway through the We Want Kross, but I have never been a Kross guy. I'm actually more intrigued by the man versus the wrestler. He seems to be outside here. He seems to be a thoughtful, well-versed, just depthful person that has a lot of ideas and has a lot of personality, but for whatever reason, he has to have the crazy eyes. So maybe, just maybe, this can serve as a refresh for the Kross character. no matter where he winds up, where instead of being Sean O'Haire 2.0, he can blend in many different aspects throughout his career. So I'm hoping for him, he's not unemployed long, and I think what a lot of people also are forgetting, there's also Scarlett, who also doesn't have a contract, who I would say WWE dropped the ball more with her than they did with Kross. Because if people remember, she actually could work when she was on the indies. It's not an example of her being Maxine Dupree and just fumbling her way through a match as is her gimmick.
Oh,
she could actually work a match because I've seen it at Wrestle Circus. God rest in peace. God rest in peace. Sami Callihan's. I've seen her work well. So I personally think you could have thrown her in the women's division to be the Kross of the women's division, and trying to connive and pull strings and things of that nature. And I think that would have been more intriguing to watch, at least from my standpoint. I think we're looking more at, we care about Kross and not about Scarlett? Because maybe we should start doing the other way around.
All right, Celis, where are you at on this? We got the one side where this is completely real. They dropped the ball. They let him go. Who knows what he's going to do? And then we got the other side of, I think I'm leaning on the other side of I'm not buying what they're selling. Where are you?
Really quickly, one of y'all, either between you Will or Celis. I'm also curious too, because we're gonna be honest and recognize that Kross is a heel, and the fact that he's getting so much babyface love definitely puts him in a position of, what do I do? How do I handle this personally? But ultimately, how do I work this into the storylines that I'm involved with right now? You can't be a babyface. Exactly. And then you have WWE that's obviously saying you are the heel, but you can't help what happens organically. So maybe when you're talking what Damian says about the idea of like, what do you do with this character? Well, yes, you're in a good situation right now, but it's definitely a situation that needs a little bit more thought, a little bit more crafting, a lot more time with the writers may have it. And ultimately, you have to really detonate whatever direction that you was in, which is the heel, and decide if you're going to make a hard pivot back to heel, or you're going to go to babyface, and do they have something for you with that? And to Damian's point, Scarlett has to also be a part of that too, because Scarlett has never been a face in WWE. So what does that look like as well? What does their presentation look like? How do they continue to work this manager, wrestler aspect when you're a baby face now and you didn't expect this to happen? But go ahead.
Yeah, so this is the way I'm going to go, and it's a little bit different. And I was going with, you said, Jamal, in your opening about the different people that kind of went through these went through these reactions where fans kind of turn into something where it's like, oh, these fans really want something. So what is WWE going to do with it? So we saw it with Kofi Mania a couple of years ago. You mentioned Daniel Bryan, but I'm going to go a different route. I'm going to say Zack Ryder, and I'm going to tell you why Zack Ryder with that. Zack Ryder was going through a phase at that time where he was on the lower tier card. And at that time, YouTube was becoming very prevalent. So he was trying to figure out a way to get himself over where he used YouTube as this platform. I think what Kross is doing here is finding some creativity, because one thing that Kross can do when he's given a platform, he can talk. I'm not talking about public speaking when you're doing a promo. I'm just talking about natural conversations when you do interviews and things of that nature. And what I felt like, in just hearing how Jamal described it, I felt like we was looking at maybe a dramatic TV series that's a little different, that can bring a real life element to who Karrion Kross is and what it means to be like, in a way, and I'm using this term more sensitive than I should, but being depressed and why I'm not getting what I deserve. So you take that, flip that, and make it a product where WWE can turn that into a series. Or maybe it's on Netflix. Series. Yeah, Netflix series. Maybe you got this stuff on ESPN that's coming up that you're signing with. Use that to make his character somebody that turns into an actor or miniseries of knowing who he is as a character. And I think this something can go beyond the ring, where let's say this leads into a miniseries, let's say a 5-episode documentary on just who Karrion Kross is. And by the time you bring him back into the ring, you bring him back as an even better character than what you had before, because of what he just naturally did here in this video of talking about his release. And I think that's something, when you think about the cinematic era that we went through during the COVID time, this is something that you can bring back and market and value all of these platforms that you're spacing yourself in, because it seemed like whatever day you want to watch WWE on, each day is on a different platform, and see what you could do with him just as an actor or a character beyond the ring.
Crab, you were talking about this video. I want to hear about that, since you were compelled by it and actually thought it was pretty good.
So on Kross's YouTube channel, he put out a 2-part, for lack of a better word, docuseries. And I don't know if it's 2 parts of or ongoing, or 2 parts, but either way, it's on his YouTube channel. Damn near 1 million views in a few days of posting, and it's about his departure from WWE, SummerSlam being his last match, and meanwhile he had a relative pass. Also, coincidentally, he's on his book tour for his first book, and it was a really compelling insight into the go whirlwind nature of the independent contractor that happens to be a professional wrestler. The problem is, this story, this narrative, stars Kevin Kazar. And I am not interested in Karrion Kross one bit. So to Celis, who says that, yeah, this could turn into a thing, and we can make it into a Netflix series or whatever, Unreal season 2. The problem is that I am becoming sold on Kevin Kazar as this bright-eyed guy from Rockland County, New York, that wants to continue he's the veteran, Mickey Rourke and the wrestler without the pills. He has his demons, he has his thing, he has all the tropes of what your dramatic representation of what a wrestler movie would be, and he's going to go out there and do it, and who knows how much longer he has left, and he's just there with him and his hot wife, and they're just going to go and try to make the best of it one day at a time. We've seen that movie, we've read that book, we know how this story ends. The problem is that none of that has to do with Karrion Kross in the ring when the bell rings. And that's kind of the thing that's, obviously not lost on him, because, he's Karrion Kross when the bell rings and he wants to go out there and do the work. But then when it comes down to it, and Paul Heyman actually made a really good comment and said, well, when he was getting some time, because he was an NXT champion, when he was getting
good NXT run.
On TV, and did a thing, and people were ho-hum about him. And now that people feels that he's the face of the downtrodden, or the voice of the voiceless, if there were such a thing, now he's getting all this love. Well, how many people are actually fans of Karrion Kross, and how many people are fans of Kevin Kazar? And that's what it is. That's where we are right now. And I think that in general, this YouTube channel, it's worth a watch. It's about an hour and change, hour and 10, something like that. Definitely worth a watch, just to see how quickly things turn. Here today, gone tomorrow. There's that, the viral SmackDown. The viral post-show script, and of course, the fans coming up to him at the book signings and stuff like that. It definitely gives great insight into the person. The problem is that the wrestler is missing from TV.
Let me ask this question, Crab, because just as you just said that last sentence, do you think more fans? Let's take our age. Let's take our demographics, because we're old. Wrestling through and through. Yeah, we're old.
Yeah.
Do you think that we want to see more of the real person sometimes when it deals with these wrestlers over just the wrestler?
That's my point. Let's go back to why we're even having this conversation. We Want Kross is something that did not happen outside of the wrestling space. This is not the R-Truth thing. That's much different story here. We Want Kross is something that organically got over by the WWE fan base, and that's why we're even having a discussion about, is this a work? Is he really released? And now he has the cards all in his hand to decide, if this is a work or if it's not. and then how long where this is going to end up going, along with whatever the angle's happening with WWE, if it's happening with WWE. The fact that he has so much attention, why not bring your personal life into it in case this happens to be a future endeavor? And now you must have these folks carry on beyond WWE if they actually want to be like a legitimate fan and not just a fair weather person that's just it's the spirit of the moment for what's happening in WWE at the time. So to your point, Sus, I think this is a great opportunity to introduce the documentary, which has fantastic views, by the way. You get a glimpse into his real life, what he's up to, his other endeavors, acting, books, his wife, his inside personal look into everything that's happening, along with people already being there with him just because they want him back for whatever reason that they became a fan of him. So I think it's a great blend of everything. Last thing I'm gonna say to that is, I think in WWE, this may be a little bit of a hot take, but maybe not. I don't think a lot of people care much about what happens in the ring outside of the outcome of the match and the presentation till you get in there. There happens to be solid matches that don't get enough love. Otherwise, Chad Gable will be a world champion by now. And then there are matches that just aren't good, but they get well receptive by folks. So I don't think the inside the ring, the once the bell rings, matters to anybody if the character, the person, and everything outside of it is hitting on all cylinders.
All right, let me work in a couple things here real quick, because you just made me think of something. First, Mad Chocolate Gaming is saying it feels like the internet has Men in Black mind wiped themselves, so they won't remember they spent the better part of 2 years posting that Adam Cole promo. Lord knows people kept posting that thing clowning on Kross as like your NXT champion getting cut off at the legs. That said, that was quite a while ago. Because wasn't that back even before COVID that happened? I want to say definitely was back in the black. It was black and gold era NXT, so it was quite a while ago. But Lord knows your internet wrestling community folks definitely were beating that drum hard for a long time on Kross. But that said, that seems to be the folks now who are all rallying behind him now with this "We Want Kross" thing. And you mentioned something. You mentioned something too, James. And here's the thing that makes me say that, because this past Monday on Raw, I didn't hear any chants. But Lord knows, a couple months ago when all this happened with R-Truth, people were vocal in those buildings. And that's what I'm not seeing with this. This all I'm seeing is this is online. Is it just like an internet bubble thing that's happening? Because I'm not seeing it in the buildings yet, like I did with R-Truth a couple months ago.
Yeah, it wasn't to the point of hijacking like R-Truth, but you hear it's there when they have their moments, they do it, and whether they're using audio control or not. But like the post show for SummerSlam, it was there. The internet is obviously running its course as well too. But yeah, when it has its moments, you'll see it pop up in there every once in a while. So, but yeah, just definitely levels to R-Truth, because R-Truth was definitely a big community thing in and outside of pro wrestling. Caught the likes of even celebrities of saying like R-Truth being released. Nah, that's not right. But Kross, again, he's over with the fan base. The R-Truth is over with the culture. That's why, and maybe that's why the voices ain't as loud as it is. But like, let's not deny still again that Kross is getting that love. I don't know where some may say, but it's there.
Are the people in love with Kross, or are they in love with Kevin that just happens to be the person behind the thing, and they just want him to feed his family? Because again, they've been released before. When the black trash bag situation came out, they got cut and a couple years ago. Went to TNA, came back, did a thing. This is not new, and that's the difference between them and R-Truth. So for me, it's less like, this is the next R-Truth scenario. Or more, this is the Mike Bennett scenario, and I think realistically, no disrespect to Bennett or Kanellis, but the point is that. But actually, it's a great comparison, because once you got to know Mike Bennett and everything he had went through with his sobriety, people were just like, I really like that guy, and wherever he goes, I'm like him, and he went over very well in TNA or Impact at the time. Yeah. So could it be exactly that? Right. I mean, and obviously he's definitely savvy enough as a wrestler for a decade plus to understand that this is part of the business. Literally have been released by this company before at a different or a couple of years ago, and it's just he's going to move on with the business. And that's another thing too about the idea that WWE is kind of losing leaving money on the table by not promoting this thing and the shirts and whatever. Well, his YouTube video has 1 million views in like a week. Like it was released this week. And that was the second part of this thing. And people, and it definitely has the flavor of the week as far as the internet news cycle goes. So he's definitely controlling his own narrative, which was a thing already that we totally forgot about.
Yeah, we did for good reason.
Right. And for good reason, sure. But the point is that this isn't necessarily the unique story that people are making it out to be. Oh, woe is Kross. How did this happen? We want Kross just because, when realistically, when you go back to the history, they're very short history. You don't have to go back a few years to understand the full circle of what this is. We do wish him well in his future endeavors, but it's not exactly like the last 6 months to a year of people going, why is Kross still here? I mean, I still stand by what I said before SummerSlam. If he doesn't have a great match with Sami Zayn in defeat, I don't know what we do with him. Yeah, and apparently WWE didn't either, and that was his contract expired a week later.
No, wait. WWE did. They gave him a contract. He didn't know what to do with that contract in his hand. Well, I'm gonna give you because you haven't really get a chance to add a rap in this at all. What do you think it is? Ultimately, to end this topic, what do you think is happening?
I think it's a little A and a little of B. Has he been released? I think he's technically been released, but he clearly isn't going out there working wherever he can, just taking bookings all over the place. His merch is still on there. That's a huge red flag for me. If the merch ain't in the clearance section, putting someone in the alumni section, that don't really mean a damn thing at the end of the day. They can move that right back just like that. So
that's the IR button. That's the IR button. You're on injury.
Yeah, I think they are very much. I think they are trying to gain interest in him. They're trying to ride this little wave and get some heat on him and get some interest in him. And he's going to show up sooner rather than later. But that said, once that happens, like Jamal's saying, then we're right back to the damn problem that the matches haven't been hitting. So that's the problem. I think the issue is going to be you can get all this interest in the character, but what do you do with him? As far as once it comes time to actually have matches that make him compelling as far as an actual wrestling.
Matches don't move merch. They don't. Chad Gable would be the best and all-time seller, and there's a lot of other names that could be put in that conversation. Matches don't move merch. Character does. Interest does.
Very true.
The controversy does at this rate. Matches don't. I literally think that's got to be their bottom tier priority is what he does in the ring. But hitting all the media stuff, the social media, all this creating buzz, that raises the stock. That makes the negotiation look a lot different than saying, let's take a look at this last match that y'all just had with Sami Zayn. That seemed to be very well. We'll pay you a little bit more. No. What's the fans saying about you? What's some social media numbers look like? And we all have to remember the E for entertainment, and what is the entertainment industry right now all about? It's viewership, folks. It is. It's not work rate, weight, muscle.
Like was being said, it could all be a storyline for WWE Unreal Season 2.
That. I will buy that. I would buy that.
Make him Scarlett's manager.
Let's put a cap on it with this. Cody Raheem Rhodes, can we Men in Black the whole control your narrative thing?
No, we got to keep it.
I want to know if those are the seasonings still for sale. The control your seasonings.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Let's leave it at that. We will stay tuned on this, but I think sooner rather than later, we are going to see WWE and Karrion Kross on the same page again. It's just a matter of how this is all going to shake out, in my opinion. All right, we went a little long here, so let's go to our halftime break. When we come back, we'll talk about WWE and AEW because this is a never-ending deal. It looks like we're being in the crosshairs. And who knows what else is going on in our second half. So stay with us, folks. Your Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast. We'll be back right after this.
Looking to get your brand in front of people who eat, sleep, and breathe entertainment? Big Gold Belt Media is the place to be. We're all about reporting on movies, TV shows, conventions, and everything in between. and we want your brand to be a part of the action. Partnering with us means your sponsorships get featured right in the midst of our content. Plus, we're going to hype you up on all of our social media, connecting you with an audience that loves discovering new things from trusted voices in entertainment. We're easy to find. Just look for us on Big Gold Belt on all your social media platforms. Don't wait, reach out today, and let's start building something amazing together. Your spotlight is waiting here at Big Gold Belt Media, biggoldbelt.com.
Welcome back to the second half of the Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast. Glad you're here with us tonight. Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern is when we're live and getting into whatever is going on in wrestling each and every week. So we've covered this topic before, but now it's happening again. The heat seems to be getting turned up, and probably just as much as I've been seeing the Karrion Kross stuff this week, I am seeing just so much about WWE picking dates where AEW has shows, and it's happening again. And now we're not going to have NXT doing it. They're talking about bringing in the main roster, and Lord knows people aren't happy about it. I don't know. In an on-demand world, it does not bother me, as I've said before. I'm like, the shows are the shows, and the shows are available whenever they're available. So we live in a very much a world where you can see whatever you want to see when you want to see it. So this is not the old days of 2 VCRs and having to pick crap like that, like as we for us old folks, how it used to have to be done. But that said, I guess the latest move here is coming next month. So we have AEW All Out happening in September, and now WWE has booked a pay-per-view, or it's a PLE to put it in proper terminology, for that same day against All Out, not an NXT show, but the talk is that the Cena and Lesnar match that they teased at SummerSlam will be on this show going against All Out. And definitely ramping things up here if you're bringing in the big guns. Part of Cena's retirement tour, no longer NXT. I think 2J's putting the finger up. I don't know, 2J's, what do you think about this? This is like that. I mean, it doesn't surprise me in the slightest darn bit, but I think the big story here is we're going from before it was always NXT. Now it's like, oh, you're bringing out the Raw and the SmackDown this time.
Yeah. All right. Put myself on the timer here for 2 minutes. Here's what I got to say. It's business, folks. First and foremost, I feel like the shift in booking has less to do about WWE and more about TKO, because they run combat sports and they ain't taking the knee to anyone. So the fact of the matter that it happens to fall on the same date, whether it's happening on purpose or not, well, that's the game that they're playing. They are taking over everything. They want stake in every streaming service. They want every measure and angle corner of combat sports all affiliated with them. And the fact that they either see them as competition or just another thing to overcome, they're going to play the game that they're going to play. Can't be upset with the game, because that's just what it is. And I promise you, if it was on the other end, they would do it the same too. And we know Tony Khan is competitive. And if he had the resources, if he had the umbrella, which could be a thing, considering that court case that we don't know about, somebody else may have stake, who knows? And they would do the same. And then the last thing I'm going to say to this is, why are you upset? Because every time I go on the internet, everybody's always picking sides anyway. So on the same day, it seems to be an easy decision. If you like one, then watch it. You shouldn't care what the other one's doing on the other hand. I can tell you another example, and it may not be the best example, but it's something I know I do religiously. Well, Celis, is about that time. NFL Sundays return. If you don't like a certain team, are you watching it? Hell no. You watch the team you want to watch, and you go on with your day. You don't have to say, dag, why the Cowboys on one channel and San Francisco's on the other channel? That's messed up. Why would they do that? I mean, like, what am I going to do here? You watch your team. Yeah, we see. So that's how I look at that. It's just the nature of the sport. Folks, watch what you want to watch. You have options. You have multiple ways of watching it. And if you don't watch it live, everything has some measure of VOD available for you. So there it is. Let's move on.
I'll jump in here. Actually, 2 Chainz, you took what I was going to say because, well, the way you opened it was very great. Man, were the days when you had to have 2 VCRs, or if you were lucky to have a scrambler, it was like, oh, let me put that on that one TV, go watch it downstairs. But at the same time, we are in a market that it's very accessible. Like you can have 2 computers on right now. One has a VPN and maybe just watch both at the same time. But I think the biggest thing that we're going to have here is what gets the most reactions. So what spots are going to take over? What flashes on Bleacher Report are you going to see? Like, oh, Brock Lesnar did this, or whatever the case may be, to make people want to tune in to a particular show. Now, I know you have the paywalls for different areas when we get to these points, but I think it's about the biggest reactions. When you see the TikTok videos, when you see the YouTube views, what is going to get that most repeated reactions to see that engagement of what's going on? But because the world is so accessible now based on how you can watch different things or even replay it, or like you said, if I watch one thing and I watch it later because I'll get a chance to see some type of viewing of it, it's just whatever gets those live reactions now to see, you know, who can trend in one way or another. But like 2 Chainz says, it's a business, and right now we're in a monopolizing season when everybody is trying to get exclusive deals to get the rights for things. Maybe they're just fighting it for some more.
Hold up, our friend Vince McMahon is here again this week. WWE went from wanting to and defeating Eric Bischoff to becoming Eric Bischoff. Starting up Nitro to go head to head. I guess you can look at it that way. This is the WCW deal all over again.
but again, I think it's not. These decisions aren't coming from the WWE level. If you ask me, this is TKO saying we are the Disney of sports entertainment and combat sports.
Well,
we're going to do what we want to do.
This is out of their playbook before even Bischoff, where they back in the day they were, you know, Survivor Series was created to battle Starrcade. So it's like this is what they've always done. That's the when people act shocked about this, like I can't believe they're doing this again. This is what they do. This is how they have always operated. So it's for me, it's like I can't be surprised. I don't know. Crab, we talked about this before when they were doing it with NXT. And it's, you know, if it's counter programming, they're counter programming them. So the other rumor going now, since they're bringing the main roster into it, is come December, are they going to throw Cena's retirement match up against AEW that month against World's End? Because hell, they could do something like throw it on NBC and not even have it on a pay-per-view, throw it on Saturday Night's Main Event or something. I mean, I don't know. I mean, is there reason to cry foul here?
Well, that's kind of been the question that we've been asking, you know, ourselves about this counter program over the past few months, and the conclusion that we usually come up to is, nah, fuck it, it's business. You know, it's cutthroat. It's business. Your competition maybe are the people on your left, they're the people on your right, they're the people in front of you, and they're the people behind you, and you're going to do what you need to do to survive it anyway. And the conclusion that we also usually come up with is that AEW doesn't have to do anything other than just be the best AEW they can. WWE, it could be in their interest to go and counter program and do things, but realistically, it's because they can. It's because they are an 800-pound gorilla, and you know what do other gorillas do when they see, you know, or another alpha animal see another ones that threaten them? They try to beat the shit out of them, respectfully. And disrespectfully sometimes. I've seen Animal Planet. I know how it goes down. But the point is that that's just a part of the game. Now, we've seen this happen with All In Texas, and then they threw the Goldberg retirement match at it, and then they threw in the women's show, part of the big weekend in Atlanta, and then of course AEW did a whole thing, and we didn't even talk about Ring of Honor that weekend. You have Cena's retirement match, and we would have said in March, May, June, that needs its own weekend. And now we're talking about over the past couple weeks, just get us to November. Hell, just get us to December 1st. When's this last day? The 16th, the 23rd? Just get us to Christmas. Make it stop. You know, let it end. It's okay. I mean, Cena is in wrestling hospice right now, and respectfully, let's all grab our candles and put on our best suits and go around the bed and slowly pull the fucking plug. Damn. It's over. It's done. it can go. And the thing is that I don't really know if WWE has the chutzpah to actually counter-program AEW successfully, because World's End is starting to become a major event for AEW. Not nearly as big as All In, not nearly as big as Forbidden Door, but it's getting up there. And now then that's also a problem too, because now that AEW knows that they're going to be purposely counter-programmed and knows what the other hand is doing, because they're going to throw Cena's last match out there, they can plan accordingly right now, and then put out whatever they're going to put out regardless. They were going to do that anyway because they don't have as much of a roster, because TNA can get involved, NXT can get involved, and of course WWE has 50 years of legends to pull out of their hat. But honest to God, I mean, really right now, if they moved World's End to noon and then have the Cena last match at 8:00, meh. Even if they had them side by side, you're just going to watch what you want to watch and then watch the shit on demand anyway.
Yeah.
So this isn't 1996 where you would go to middle school, allegedly, if we were that old, and then start trading tapes the next day in homeroom. Allegedly.
I was going to say, that sounds reflective right there.
Shut up. Shout out to Stephen Decatur Middle School. But if that were to happen, then we don't live in that age anymore, because that was 35 years ago. So
holy crap.
So it is what it is,
Hey,
the
mute him. Who's the producer? Who's the producer today? Mute this guy.
I think he's going his inner Kevin or Karrion Kross right now.
This dude here, hot mic.
No,
let me say though, don't forget, Cena right now is also getting ready. Peacemaker drops next week. Which happens to be on HBO Max. So you talk about counter programming and whatnot. All they need is a nice little good Cena on their local station running a commercial, doing Dynamite, just to for people to have their feathers in a bunch at this rate. I don't think to be honest, I don't think counter programming really is about the cards. I think it's the idea that you have options on the same date and people are upset. It doesn't matter what the cards are built up to, because AEW is putting together really some super unique and fantastic cards up and down the board.
Yeah,
they can have
really
1,000 matches on them. But it doesn't matter, because WWE can run 4 matches and you can be like, well, that's more my speed there. And Cena happens to be in one of them, or Jey Uso happens to be in, or Roman Reigns happens to be in one of them. So yeah, it's whatever flavor of ice cream, whatever brand that you want or like. Hell, for me, Canada Dry or Seagram's Gin, Seagram's
ginger ale.
Whatever you want, it's up to you. That's how I look at it at this rate. You got a preference one way or another.
Damien, get in here. We haven't heard from you yet.
Yeah, real quick on it. I'll just say I'm more surprised by the fan reaction, why this is such a big deal to them. Why is this something that they need? Going back to the tribalism aspect of it all that we often talk about and reference, this is just another notch in that tribalism belt where it's like, no, this is better. No, this is better. Man, listen, 2 Chainz said it best. We're at the sushi bar. We got choices. Why are you even complaining about what we have? Many years ago, we only had one thing. That was the one thing we had to eat. Then WCW came around. Now AEW's around. But now we have a plethora, a smorgasbord, if you will. And y'all still complaining about counter programming? I'm more annoyed, maybe because I'm a grumpy old man, allegedly, but maybe I'm just annoyed that this is a big deal to wrestling fans, as if we're the North versus the South in the Civil War, and we're over here at the front lines. It's not that serious. Watch what you want to watch, like was said before. Tape what you can or record it. Or, do people still have TiVo? Whatever that is, like whatever we got now, just do that. Watch all you can and stop bitching about stuff like this that doesn't matter. Look, and I'll end with this. We live in a wrestling world where the 2 topics we've talked about today are Karrion Kross and counter programming. This is what the IWC wants to talk about.
Oh, y'all need therapy. It has been burning up the internet all week. It just kills me because every damn time it's like, I mean, I practically see people scream, "It's unfair." They're doing this. It's like, no one is stopping you. No one is in your house with a gun to your head saying, "You gotta watch WWE," or "You gotta watch the wrestling from Jacksonville." I mean, come on. You can pick and choose what you want, and it's not the end of the damn world. I gotta get Cody Rhodes in here because Wheatley American Ginger Ale is coming soon.
Hey, I'll try that. I ain't gonna lie, I'll try it.
I'll try that. I ain't gonna lie, I'll try that.
I don't want to forget our good friend Cupcake. Cupcake is here every week. Cupcake, we are glad to see you. It's been a while. We got the whole crew here tonight. We're glad to have you here with us. Man, this is. I don't get it. I think there's one other angle to this I did hear bringing up. The one other thing I saw people talking about today was that now WWE might be trying to bring TNA into this like counter programming thing.
Good.
That if TNA gets a better deal, a better TV package, that maybe they end up on Wednesday against Dynamite, and then TNA is being used to counter program them.
Good.
And I mean, if it does, so what? I don't get it. That was the latest thing I saw today. Like, now TNA can't have a show because it might be against AEW.
Yeah.
You know? I mean,
good for them.
I mean, when you think about it, healthy competition is always good. When you have people putting things together, and once again, I'm gonna make a video game reference. When Madden and NFL 2K was going together, that's when you had your best products of video games. But now, when you could do
Not
it
the
with
best
wrestling,
rivalry, but yes, got it.
It's good comparison.
When was the last 2K football game?
When you were outside of middle school, that was after
the
the
on it. I remember that with the first person view.
Day.
Yep,
$20 ago.
$20. Yeah, 20 years
pretty
ago.
good.
That was the show.
You started it, Mo. But I would just say it just brings up healthy competition. The more things that you can see a diversify of what we love from wrestling, that's just more power to the viewer of what you want to watch. So just put more out there. Like, hell, if you want to bring the indies up for something and put them against there, you put them on YouTube or whatever the case may be. You know, just put everything out there that you can watch.
Let me get Jay Bradbury in here from YouTube. Wrestling is wrestling. Imagine being a fan and hating something you like. It reminds me of the Coke versus Pepsi arguments from back in the day, showing my age. I'm there with you, Jay. I'm part of that age bracket to know about the damn Coke versus Pepsi arguments. But it's like, no one's taking the other one off the shelf.
And matter of fact, a good current relevant conversation to this is how all the fast food chains take shots at each other very much transparently on social media. But they're all thriving. They're all eating. And you make your selections. Like, who just brought back the wedges? Was it KFC? Because I'm sure I would never eat it
this week.
Yeah, who cares? But apparently people care. So I'm not eating no KFC wedges, but like people cares. It's just like, cool. They took a shot at each other. We don't need a big outroar. It was lab. You got your laughs out of it. Moving on. What's Wendy's going to say next? Because they run the best one, the best social media at that. But yeah, it's good. You have options, and that's the good thing. And to go back to conversations we had 3 years ago when we talked about, are we truly living in the best years of pro wrestling where there's so many options? It is 1,000,000,000% true that you can watch wrestling live on television, streaming. You can watch clips on social media. You got stuff free on YouTube. You got stuff free on Tubi. You still got your local indies operating. Wherever you go, there's a way to watch wrestling, and everybody's just thriving because as the competition and good competition as it is, it's making everybody up to ante, and it's only growing the word pro wrestling, the recognition behind pro wrestling, the appreciation behind it. And it's good for everybody on all ends. The folks are making money. We're spending money. We're going. We're talking about it. It is what it is.
I think that a root of the issue is that people are inherently scared, like literally fearful that the thing that they like won't be popular enough anymore, and now they have to justify liking that thing. And we've seen it before. We've seen it happen on the highest corporate level. We've seen it happen on the lowest level. It's not just wrestling. It's with anything. If you ask a Star Wars fan how he feels about Star Trek, if that's a person of a particular age, them's fighting words. If you ask the Lord of the Rings fan how much he likes Harry Potter, if he's of a particular age, you're going to get stabbed. If you are an ABA fan and you ask about that damn NBA with, and then you go, well, no, that's not that, and if you're of a particular age, the WNBA and the ABL, and so on and so forth. It's that fear, inherent fear that, oh no, I like something, and because I like this popular thing organically, I'm popular too. Wait a minute, there's a threat to that popularity. Burn them, burn their children, burn their families. Burn
I must defend it with my life.
Yeah, right. And Will, that's honestly how some people feel online. They are out here signing tweets in blood about defending whoever it is, whatever it is, by any cost. Let me ask you something, unless we're gonna move it to the last topic. But do you truly think AEW and WWE are in legitimate competition, or you think they're just trying to exist in their own space, and it happens to be like Beyblades, and at some points they just kind of bump against each other?
WWE is operating at such a different level now. With just, as we mentioned earlier, they are everywhere. If you on Netflix, they on Netflix. If you on regular network TV, they're on the CW. They're on cable still. They're on every damn platform they can be on. For God's sake, they're on Tubi. I think very much what they are doing, their new operation with TKO, is they want to be everywhere they can possibly be. AEW is trying to be a wrestling company, and that's all fine and good, and they can do their own thing. WWE is trying to be more like Disney and just have an omnipresence everywhere you look in one way or another. It's different. It's apples and oranges in my mind.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Yeah. Do really quickly to your point. It wasn't that long ago that they said they wanted to compete with the likes of Disney and Netflix, but you see, even they had to change their mindset. Instead of trying to compete, why not sit at the same table with them? And now everybody's
At the end of the day, I'm gonna put it like Jay Bradbury puts it perfect. Appreciate the artist, not the company the wrestlers are eating. Yes, indeed. That's just it. There are places out there for people to work, which is a good thing. Lord knows. Let's leave it at that. We got a couple minutes left here, and we have not had the whole crew together in this time. So I'm gonna step back. What do you all want to talk about to wrap this up, since we have not all been here at the same time in a long time?
Mutant rabbits are taking over Colorado. If you're in the Fort Collins area, run. Do not walk.
Mutant rabbit.
They will kill you. They are out for blood. God help us all.
Yeah, I saw that, but I'm not even.
No, I mean, like that. Yeah, that shit is wild. Don't look it up if you're not ready to see something evil. So last week, Gresham stroke, is recovering. That was the update that I saw come, over the past 7 days. So that's obviously good. So, wish him well on that. I think in general, just overall, we're talking about the minutia of. Do you think that in this time where kayfabe is like really, really, really being scrutinized, is that something that should go forward? In that we want more wrestlers to have like introspective, in-depth analysis of their day-to-day backstage, unprecedented access that we've never seen before? Or would you rather see the curtain actually closed and separate that disbelief anymore? Or is it just too far gone?
It's too late. Yeah, after the Netflix thing, it's too late. So I think, you'll be dumb to not come out with your own bit of media to draw attention and revenue behind it, whether it's a book or YouTube. So why not? Everybody's into it. That's something Damien said earlier made me think about it. We do truly live in a world now where everybody wants to be on the insiders, and definitely shout out and salute to all the journalists that covers the sport. And a lot of them, I know them to be, aren't looking to be popular. They just get the popularity because of the work they do, and that's good that they get the flowers behind all the work that they do. But understand that popularity comes because there's a shit ton of people that's like, I need to know what Becky Lynch had for breakfast today. And if I don't, I'm going to be upset. So why not kind of create that direct path to you from folks to kind of see what you up to? Or which is why, to be honest, outside of the horniness of the world, it's why people's paywall content thrives, because they like, people want to feel like they know these folks, or they're best friend with these folks, or they have access to these folks. So why not create the access on your own platforms?
Yeah, I think it's past that. I think it's not about what kayfabe is now. It's about, is this real or not? Because it's like, if you see something on there, is it real? Is it staged? Or is it something that's blown up to make you think about a certain perception? So I'm just thinking, having an insight, everybody wants to see that. They want to see what's the breaking news or who can reveal it first. But now I just want to see, is this real? Or where do you think this is going?
At the rate we're going, it's the sizzle selling the steak at this point, because all of the soap opera outside of the ring lately seems as if it's better than the soap opera going on in storyline. And I feel that's what's mostly getting all the attention. It reminds me of NBA free agency. Everybody cares, like Shams and Woj cares for those 2 weeks. And then we got nothing. And then we wait for the next story to drop. This is becoming the wrestling fandom. It's, yeah, the match was okay. Like 2 Chainz said, yeah, the match was fine. But did you see what they did on YouTube? So
did you see what he posted afterwards?
Right. Yeah. Oh my God, it's so cryptic. Is it a work or is it a shoot? Who cares?
And because we live in this aggregated environment where somebody actually does the work or get the scoop, that people go back, especially on wrestling Facebook. It's living hell. Don't go there. I'd rather see those mutated rabbits than wrestling Facebook any longer. That people take other people's ideas or people's actual work and report it back as if it's theirs. But listen, really quick, I want to ask you, Will, since you've been sort of moderating things, what is your thoughts about Bailey's vignette that clearly looks like she's going to be going heel at some point? But when you think about it, is it no different than what we have seen with Kross, with the frustrations? And
yeah, they're totally channeling into the frustration, and I don't, things haven't been working out for me. And yeah, of course, the difference here just be that most of what she's doing is on TV, but now she's starting to post some stuff on social media, but there doesn't seem to be anything involved where it's like her contract is up, where it's like they're going to get rid of Bailey. So they're not going that far with that. But I mean, workplace frustration is something I think most folks can relate to. It's an easy storyline to tell. So yeah, I'll have to see where they do this. Oh man, the IWC is real life South Park.
Bingo.
That might sum it all up right there. That might be a perfect way to put a cap on this for this week. Lord knows. I think we're going to be having this conversation, for a long time to come. It's the new kayfabe where it's like things are blurred online after the shows and what is real and what is not. All right, folks. Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. We are streaming here live on YouTube, on Twitch, on what's the other one we got? YouTube. Oh, and of course on X. On all the platforms you can get streaming live on. Your Big Old Belt Wrestling Podcast is there Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. Afterwards, the stream lives on YouTube. So if you joined us late tonight, like Cupcake, you can check out from the beginning what we were talking about. We had our conversation about Kross in the first half of the show tonight. So the archives are there if you want them in audio and in video format on YouTube. Let's see. On social media, we're at Big Gold Belt across the board. That's where you can find us on social media, where we're talking Instagram, X, Threads, Blue Sky, all the different platforms. At Big Gold Belt is where you can find us. And last but not least, on the web, BigGoldBelt.com, the home of Big Gold Belt media, wrestling, movies, comics, and more. Since we have the boss man here this week for the first time in a long time, first I got to ask you this. I got to ask you this because I'm hearing conflicting things. I hear a lot of people talking about Weapons, but today I started to hear people being like, should I go see Weapons?
I had a very long conversation about this, and here's what I'm going to say. If you like original material and story that has the opportunity to expand the story in both ways, and you're okay with not knowing how did we get here or where are we going or anything like that, you'll be fine. I think the best comparison to that, if you've seen that movie Talk to Me, where you kind of like, where the hell did this? Damien's like, I'm not watching none of this shit. Nope. And Jamal forgot. Nope. But if you've seen the movie Talk to Me, where you kind of was put into this world of this possessed hand and people already using it and whatnot, and you're okay with that, Weapons is sort of the same thing, where you're I'm not going to give anything away, but beyond this, what's happening to these kids, how did we get to this point, and where is it going to go? If you're okay with not knowing that and you just care about the meat, I think you'll be fine. I enjoyed it. I saw it twice.
Okay. All right. What else should we be looking out for as summer is winding down here?
I'll be short and sweet and say this week, Nobody 2 comes out. If you love the first one, I definitely think this one ups the ante. Definitely think it's worth a watch. Bob Odenkirk was not on anybody's list as next action star, but I tell you, he takes a good punch and he throws a good one, and it's a great story. I was very surprised that they actually had something to work with, and we'll see what they want to do beyond that. And then my hot take is Red Sonja, a movie that's been in development for like 23 years. And if you're a Marvel fan, if you are a Conan the Barbarian fan, then you may recognize the red-haired female barbarian in herself now has her long-awaited movie that I actually think for an independent project is pretty damn solid. So, yeah, you got some options for the week.
Okay. Yeah, so let me add to that. So things that I'm going to be seeing this weekend, hopefully, Americana with Sidney Sweeney and Paul Walter Hauser looks interesting. Highest to Lowest is on Apple TV later on this month, but it's in theaters this weekend with Denzel Washington. I do plan on seeing Nobody 2. The Knife, starring former Eagles cornerback Nnamdi Asomugha, about his wife who alters a crime scene in their home, and the story going from there. Shin Godzilla is being re-released this time in 4K.
4K. Yeah.
So they're actually it's going to be released on 4K Blu-ray later on this month, but it's in theaters. So if you haven't seen that one from 2016, 2017, it's actually
is that confirmed, the 4K Blu-ray?
Absolutely. It comes out later on this month.
Okay. I interviewed the director at Comic-Con. I asked about that, and he told me, go see it in the movies first as it comes to America before it goes to Japan, which is a very interesting release angle that you typically don't see.
Right. And for your Indian fans out there, Coolie, another batshit crazy South Indian big action movie. And another super massive big action movie is War 2. If you've been following that whole cinematic universe, this is the latest installment of that. That looks absolutely insane. So I'll be seeing that this weekend. It's a lot of stuff out, a lot of some weird stuff. And most importantly, Nezha Part 2 comes out next weekend. And it is, they're having some select early screenings in IMAX 3D earlier this next week, Monday, Tuesday, but it comes out in English next Friday.
There we go.
Damien, you are going to see that, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So far, it's my favorite movie of the year.
It's the 5th highest grossing movie of all time.
It's the number one animated movie of all time. And
I'm glad you put that up there, Will, because I was going to say, because they did not say it. TMNT 35th anniversary would never release
yesterday.
theaters.
Yes, indeed. Teenage Mutant Turtles is back in theaters. Also, Spider-Man 1 through 3 is also back in theaters.
Yes, it is.
The Sam Raimi.
Options. There you go.
Yeah. Also, Spider-Man 2 will be 2.1. And not just 2 for the first time ever in theaters. So yeah.
Oh, okay. 2 quick things. I'm not going to see it because I'm not. But Went Up the Hill is a weird ass pseudo horror movie about this couple that's drawn together. They're not a couple actually, but they're drawn together by some force that's bringing them together. And of course, Dead to Rights, Chinese movie about photographers that were exploited in the Nanjing massacre in the 30s, and what the hell they had to go through. So that's going to be heavy. So you don't if you're squeamish, probably not for you.
Also, real quick, if you're into let's see, 24 style action adventure espionage kind of show, please go on over to Amazon Prime and watch Butterfly, Daniel Day Kim, Piper Perabo. It's surprisingly entertaining. You think it's going to be generic, but it definitely takes you on a left-hand turn. Butterfly just dropped, I believe, on Tuesday on Prime Video.
All right. Anybody else before I go to the wrap up?
We're a media team, Will. I'm sorry.
It's all good. We got a full page of recommendations there. So this is folks, you got hooked up this week from your friends at Big Gold Belt Media. There, you got movies, you got shows, you got foreign stuff, you got action stuff, you got horror, you got options. So as always, Big Gold Belt on the social media, and of course, BigGoldBelt.com, the home of Big Gold Belt Media on the web. Wrestling, movies, comics, and more, folks. Cover it all here. So until next week, Thursday night, 8 p.m., we will be back next week to talk about whatever's going on. We'll be on the road to Forbidden Door. There's NXT next weekend, so we'll get into all that. Who knows what'll be going on with Kross, what the new kayfabe will be and all that. But we'll talk about all then. So hit that button on the screen to get subscribed, notifications, and all that good stuff. And we'll see you next week, Thursday night. Talk to you later.